When we moved to Haiti, the church there, of course, we had to learn to speak Haitian Creole and get adjusted to the community after we were there a few months and could carry on limited conversations. People started asking me when I was going to build the church building. And I said, I don't know. I didn't know anything about the church building. I don't know anything about building a church building. I'm not really planning to do that. Well, they were disappointed. And then I found out that uh, the mission had land on which they were going to build a church building, and they had the money for the church building. And so the people just assumed that when I came, I would be building the church building. Well, I didn't want to disappoint them, and I told them I don't. But I told them they don't want me building their church building because I don't know anything about building, and if I had built it, it wouldn't be a good building. But I could tell they were disappointed, and so we talked about it some more, and then I said to them, in Canada, if we were going to do that, if we had the money to build a church building and the land, then we would just maybe hire a contractor, and we would work together, and we would build the church. And so I said, why don't we do that? Like there was a contractor that was part of the church, and I said we could hire him, and he could oversee the work, and then we could have work days, and people would get together and they'd work on the church, and we could build the church building ourselves. And so they were agreed to do that, and so I talked to the mission. The mission was agreed to do that. So we got ready to start building the church building. And I thought this would be a pretty simple building. You can just, like, there's no frost, right? So the ground never freezes, so you can just pour a pad on top of the ground and build it on that. But they said, no, that's not good. Like, you have to go down to where the color of the ground changes, and there's little stones. I was saying, how deep is that? They said, well, it's between 3 and 4 feet. And there was actually that much topsoil there. We were in a flat area, and there was like almost 4 feet of just black topsoil. So I said, okay, we'll start digging. The church was 72 by 36, and so we started digging. We had no power equipment. We started digging a footer. Sure enough, we hit the subsoil at about 42 inches, and so we dug the whole trench for the footer by hand, and we had people there. We didn't have enough of picks and shovels, and so people were there with gourds scooping out dirt, and it was a hard kind of a clay type dirt, so it all had to be picked chunk by chunk loose. You couldn't shovel it, so it was a lot of hard work. Then after we dug the footer, then we mixed concrete, we got rocks, and we built a foundation. So after we were working on it for a month or so, we were just up to ground level. We buried everything we did, and then we were ready to start building from there. So over that time, we were having work days once or twice a week where everybody would come together and work on the church building, and everyone was excited about it. It was a big project, and everyone was excited about the church building, and so we were making good progress. And then one week we were having a work day. I think it was going to be on a Tuesday, and so at the end of the Sunday morning church service, Pastor Paul Vital, the Haitian pastor, he said, "Okay, we're going to have a work day on Tuesday. How many people can come and help on the work day? Raise your hand if you can come." Well, some people raised their hands, and I noticed that Brother Jeremy raised his hand. I thought, well, that's interesting. Like, Brother Jeremy is one of the few people in the church that has a formal job, and I know he works Monday to Thursday, and I don't think he can ever get a day off. But apparently, maybe he's not working this week, or he can get a day off. So, because he raised his hand, and I saw he raised his hand, said he was coming. So after church, I was talking to people, and I talked to Brother Jeremy, and I said, "So I'll see you on Tuesday." And he's like, "Tuesday. What's on Tuesday?" And I said, "Oh, the work day for the church." Oh, he said, "I can't come. I'm working. I have a job, and I can't come." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I just saw that you raised your hand and said that you were going to come, and so I thought maybe you would be here." He said, "No, I can't. I would if I could." But he said, "I raised my hand because I want to come, and I'm a church member, so I should come, and I want to come, and so I raised my hand to let everybody know that I want to come, and I would come if I could, but they all know that I can't." I said, "Okay, all right, well, that's okay. I'm fine with that." So, but I thought that's interesting. I wonder if that's really true. So I asked Pastor Paul a little later, you know, uh, I saw that Brother Jeremy raised his hand and said that he was going to come to the workday on Tuesday. What do you think? Do you think he's going to come? And he said, no, he can't come. Like he works, he has his job, and he can't get off of his job. But he said it's a good thing he raises his hand because it encourages other people to get their hands up, and then those who can come will come. But he would come if he could, but he wants to come. And so when he raises his hand, that helps other people to raise their hand because they see he would come, and then that helps them to raise their hand. So it's good he does that. Okay, fine. Well, I want to check this out a little more. So when the um, workday came and we were there on Tuesday, I thought, I wonder what the men in the church, I wonder if what they think. So I would get beside somebody and I'd be working beside them and I would try to talk about some things that maybe would get them in a little bit of a negative frame of mind. And I would say, oh, it's so hot. Like this is hard work. And here we are, we're working away here. It's so hot. And we're really working hard here. And it'd be nice to have more help. And then I would say to them, I saw on Sunday that Brother Jeremy raised his hand and said he was going to come, but I haven't seen him here. Have you seen him? And why didn't he come? He raised his hand and said he was going to come. Every one of those men, without fail, every one of those men told me, "Oh, Pastor Merle, don't say that. Don't talk like that. He would come if he could, but he has a job and he can't come. And he's just raising his hand because he wants to come, and we know he wants to come, and he would be here if he could, but he can't." So you know what? It was one of those situations where sometimes in cross-cultural situations, we think that somebody raising their hand means that they are physically going to show up on Tuesday for the workday, and it doesn't mean that at all. Nobody understands it that way. And so we can quickly start saying, oh, people lie, they don't tell the truth. When in fact, everybody might know exactly what it means when they raise their hand. We think it means, yes, I will be there physically, but didn't mean that when he was raising his hand. It simply meant, I want to come and I would if I could. Everybody understood it except me. And so uh, sometimes in those kind of situations, it's before we make critical judgments and we decide people are lying or they're not telling us the truth, maybe it's good to check out what raising your hand really means. And does it mean that you're actually going to come, or does it just mean that I want to come and I would if I could?